So good afternoon and welcome to the sixth in the series of our webinar live presentations we've been carrying out this week. My name is Steve Ryan. I'm the sales manager for Rotech machines here in the UK. And today we're going to discuss a few of the different applications where we can help you out in terms of offline coding and marking for products outside of the food and pharmaceutical industry that you've been used to seeing on our previous presentations. So we're going to start off by talking about a couple of the different systems that we have available, ranging from our mid-range RF Auto system, which is an offline feeder unit, through to our RF1, as you see behind me, in a few different formats, up to the RF pouch, which is a system designed for running flexible packaging of many different types. So kicking off with the RF Auto, we've got a couple of videos in this presentation, primarily because getting all of the equipment in here to show you live on video is a little bit tricky. So we're going to run some pre-recorded film footage for you. And first off, we're just going to run through the RF Auto on a standard application. So this is an RF Auto system running cartons in a very traditional format. But this could be used for packaging products for, let's say, car components and various other applications. And again, another video on the RF Auto as we run through will be showing you some different products filming or being filmed with different applications. So this is the Auto again. This time it's running pouches. And one of the additional items we fitted to this particular machine for a customer's own reference was the ability to apply a flash label to the pouch as the pouch is being fed through. You can see the system operates on a traditional method that we've designed, which is an in-feed, out-feed section, then onto a shingling conveyor, which is a collection conveyor for the products once they've been labelled. Other applications for this type of machine also include larger pouches. These are a quick seal pouch, much like you'd find with whey powders or cereals, in fact. Here, rather than just a flash label, we're applying a full label to the pack. This could include such information as ingredient or product references relative to the product inside the pouch once packed. Again, the labelling system is customer preference, so we will be happy to fit and work with any key suppliers that you may have or already deal with in the factory, and we can set these machines up to run in unison. Also on the Auto, we have additional products that we can run. On this particular application, the feeder is being used for a very unusual process actually. This is actually feeding filled blisters. So in a process or an application where a product has already been filled to a blister, we can actually feed these through on our system and provide the same features, i.e. coding directly to the blister or applying a label. You can see there the blisters are just feeding through, which I'll run through with you after we've finished the video footage. Another application for the Auto, and again here, using the standard base machine, this time we're feeding the product through, and it's an elongated product, quite an unusual application, this one. This is for doing taxi plate hire discs or ID plates. And the reason for this application was the volume required for these plates necessitated an automated system. Using the RF Auto, they can feed these as well as fixed or hard plates through the system and apply a holographic label directly to the product in a very accurate manner, which is essential for this type of application, obviously for counterfeiting and of course traceability applications. So just to show you a couple of things about the RF Auto, the standard machine guides, we would typically use a fixed finger such as this. Once this has been adjusted to the thickness of the product, it's set and the machine is pressed ready to run the product through on a consistent basis. The idea of this finger is it separates the products and allows just one to pass through, which I'll show you on the machine behind me later. The Auto benefits from a patented and rather unique design, in as much as this is the gating feature that we use. It's an automatic gating feature, and it has a wheel on an offset spring. The idea of this wheel is that it can automatically adjust for various different thicknesses of products without any operator intervention, making changes from one product to another very quick and simple. It also adds to the flexibility of the system when it's in situ in factories. So just an example of some of the products that we can run on an Auto. Board samples. This is for laminated flooring, which is something that would normally be pre-printed or printed by hand or written onto for reference. We can run this on the Auto. It's a very thin product, as you can see. It's a very solid product as well. But rather than applying the code by hand, which is a time-consuming operation, the Auto can handle this type of products and run them through in speeds well in excess of 200 per minute. Other samples, again, a laminate floor or wooden, it's a laminate top for actually a worktop. Again, it's a sample board, and typically this type of product would not run through any of our other systems due to the rigidity of the product. It won't allow any flexing as it's feeding through the system. Whereas on the Auto, as you saw by the design of the machine, it's running through a set angle, and that angle continues onto the outfeed. So there's no need for any flex in the material, and the Auto gating feature will adopt or adapt to the different thicknesses of product. Another application you can use the Auto for would be for printing direct onto card. We do have another machine within the range, which is the RF case for much larger outer case corrugated boxes, but these also can be run on the Auto, again, because of the rigidity of the product and the angle at which the product's feeding through. Now, you may have seen the video showing the blister packs. Is a close-up of the sort of quality you can expect to achieve in terms of printing directly to the product. This is using thermal inkjet, and it's using a 4-head system. So each section of the print on both sides of the blisters is using 2 heads. Again, printing barcodes to a full readability A scale and going right down to a 1.5mm text height. Within the range, other than the Auto, we then step on to a much larger machine, which is available in several different variants. And this is known as the RF1, and the stock system is using a friction feed, much like the RF light that we presented earlier this morning. By the way, the videos from this morning are still available, so you can contact us through the website or call us directly, and we can send you links to those if you have problems finding them. On the RF1, you see the system is a much larger unit, around about 1.2 meters in length. And on the friction system, we have a set of rollers underneath the product, which drive the product through onto a traverse belt, which is a high tensile belt. It's a very grippy belt, and this holds the product in place, traverses it along the top of the bed, and then collects in a collection tray at the end of the machine. There are a number of different options you can have on this particular system. Excluding the friction feed, I'll come back to the different variants here. But on the bed of the machine, across the range of the RF1, we can provide such features as flash labeling. We can provide camera for recognition of text, for reading of codes. If required, we can also input on the end here a rejection station, or we can have a shingling conveyor for taking products off and stacking them carefully, allowing the operator to simply pick the products up. Just had a few questions come through from live chat, so just want to pop in and answer those for everybody. There's one that relates to the minimum and maximum carton dimensions that the RF feeders can cope with. Now, on the RF Auto that we mentioned earlier, the minimum is a 30mm by 80mm box or product, and the maximum a 350 by 400. So there's quite a wide variety of sizes you can run on the Auto. The RF1 is slightly different in as much as the minimum size on the friction feeder version goes down to 60 by 50 and the maximum up to 400 by 450 millimeters. If you're looking at the overall dimension, which again, another live chat comment has just popped up, in terms of the overall sizes of the RF Auto, you're looking around about 1 meter long with the catch tray by 600 wide, 450 tall, and the RF1, 1.2 meters long by 600 by 600. That excludes, of course, any type of frame system that you may wish to have on the unit to aid transport around the factory. This particular system is fitted to our standard frame, which has caster wheels, allowing you to reposition around the factory as and when you need to. So I want to touch base on the RF1 and the various options that are available. We'll start with the friction feeder, and I've got a couple of videos to show you again here, starting with the initial video that I'm going to show you now is actually the RF1 running a set of different products, and this is a promotional video you may have seen on the website. So this is taking a standard carton. As you can see, it's pulling the carton or the product through. Friction feeder, as you saw at the beginning of the video very quickly, was the friction wheels underneath the product, running them onto the transport bed. And on this particular application, we're showing our twin head thermal inkjet printer, again, ideal for low maintenance printing, low cost printing, and allows you to do a full variation of different code format directly to the product. The RF1, as I say, is a very capable system. The next video that we're going to show you jumps onto a slightly different product format. And what this allows us to do with the RF1, much like the Auto, is add different features to the system. So on this particular one, using the friction feed, we're running poly bags. So these are pouches, much like a thin pack that you would find maybe some Scampi packs in. Very flexible product, but it is possible to run these on the friction due to the angle at which they traverse off of the friction rollers and onto the bed. Again, high tensile bed or high grip belt on the bed, and using RX2 jet thermal inkjet printer. The next video, if we jump onto this one, is showing you the flexibility in terms of the size of product that we can actually run. This is a very large outer sack or a carrier sack, much like you would find plaster in for building materials. The system on this particular video has no coding or marking applications fitted to it, no labeling applications. This is purely showing the system running a much larger pouch, as I say, just to give you an example of the range of products that we're able to run on our system. Our next video, again, showing flexibility of the system, includes a label applicator. This is running quite a high speed. This is a flat, non-erected carton being applied or having a flash label applied for a goods tracking company. So on this particular application, the product is sent to us or was sent to us for testing. The operator and the customer needed a high-speed solution to label these boxes, which were previously done by hand before they were formed and filled with product. This obviously saved them a lot of time and money, especially in labour costs, and improved their productivity no end. The next video, I think the final one on the friction feeder, is actually to cover the same type of system again, same bed system, this time with a labeler, and this is a variant of the video we saw earlier with the Auto. And again, this is doing a different type of coding. This will actually end up being a laminated board for the taxi service, for example. And the same system here that we have set up was used for applying code data to number plates, which were then sent further down the line and then coated with the acrylic plating. So that's the friction. The next system we're going to jump onto now is actually a version of the RF1. But before I do that, I just want to go through a couple of new questions that have popped up and try and answer those for you. So we had a question regarding the types of printers that can be fitted to these systems. It's important to bear in mind with the Auto, because of the way that the system is set up, we use a set of belts to traverse the product away from the in-feed section. Therefore, you must use a non-contact printer. A non-contact means that the face of the head of the printer doesn't come into contact with the surface of the product. So on the Auto, you're restricted to thermal inkjet, as we have here on this particular machine, or continuous inkjet, or even laser, should you so wish. On the RF1, however, because of the way the belt is set up and the transport bed, we can use a range of printers from thermal inkjet, continuous inkjet, laser, thermal transfer, and even hot foil stamping, should you so wish. It's just down to the nature of the bed of the system, and that allows us, if you like, an anvil to push against, which all of the contact coders require. In terms of the throughput on the RF1, it really depends on the models. So the RF1 friction is restricted on speeds pending the size of the actual product. But if on an RF1 you have a variable speed setting, then you can adjust the pitch setting between products, which increases the throughput. But similarly to the Auto and the RF Lite, you can expect to achieve on 100 by 100 square products up to 200, 250 items per minute. There is another question popped up, may have missed it earlier in the presentation, regarding fitting labellers to the various options of the machines. Both the Auto and the RF1 can accommodate a labeller or a label applicator. This can be a flash labeller, or if you so wished, it could even be a print and apply system. So you're printing real-time data direct to label and applying it to your product. The last variant of the RF1 range, without moving into the pharmaceutical side of the business, is the vacuum system. So this is a pouch, we call it the RF pouch. The in-feed section on the RF pouch is entirely different. We still use a traversing top bed, much the same as this, but on an RF pouch, we use a vacuum pick and place arrangement, which is picking from the top of the stack, placing it onto the outfeed conveyor, again, over which you can have a variation of different printers or even label applicators, or mix the two. So I'm just going to run you through a couple of videos here on the pouch, which should show you the in-feed section and how vastly different really it is to both the RF1, shuttle and friction. So this is the RF pouch in operation. This is we have two vacuum cups here, picking up the leading edge of a very flexible pouch. This is a pouch for wheat grain. And we're picking the pouch up, transporting it onto the flat bed, over which we can mount the label applicator or printer of choice. After that product comes towards the end of the bed, don't forget we can also accommodate such items as a reject station connected to a camera for misreads of codes, or even the shingling conveyor to transport the product away from the system. The next video we're going to show you, covering the pouch again, is perhaps a more typical application. This is for very small pouches. Typically, there might be crab sticks in this or something similar to that. But this video is showing how the machine can be easily adapted in size just by bringing the vacuum ports together, picking up again the leading edge of the pouch and presenting it to the outfeed bed, as you see in the video. Speeds on the pouch system are restricted, and this is predominantly because of the movement of the vacuum assembly. It's not like the friction system or the shuttle system, where you have quite a fast reciprocating motion. With the vacuum, we have to bring the cups back to meet the position at which we can pick the pouch from the top of the stack. This obviously has to be controlled in such a way that we're not pulling on one edge of the pouch too much. And one other thing we have to be aware of here is static build-up in any type of flexible material, which can be a problem. If that is something that is affecting your particular samples, then we have solutions such as anti-static bars. And on this particular product, we had strips that helped to separate the leading edge of the pouches prior to them being placed onto the outfeed belt. I think we have another video set up on the pouch which I'd like to show you. And just bear with me 1 second. In fact, that was the last video showing that particular one. Just want to run through with you standard operation of the RF series of systems. If we avoid concentrating on the in-feed section, because we've already spoken about the friction feed, which is suitable for such items as standard box cartons, right down to small products like so. On the RF1, the system presents the product to the outfeed belt, traverses along, printer or label applicator, and into a collection tray as seen on the video. The PLC control here at the front of the machine allows us to adjust such features as the nip time, which is the time that we are driving the product through to guarantee a good solid drive of product, and also the pitch. So that's the distance between each product as it comes through onto the bed of the machine. So the closer the pitch, the faster in fact we can run through product, because we're using less of the belt time to traverse across the length of the whole belt. So on the particular system I've got set up behind me, this is the pusher plate design. So this is ideally suited and used for many applications such as high quality cosmetic products. It's also used within the automotive industry for packing or printing, feeding automotive packaging. I'll go quiet whilst I run the system because this does run on a pneumatic feed to the slider or the top plate here, which is shearing the bottom carton off of the stack. So you'll hear the pneumatic cylinder activating. You'll see the product come out onto the belt and then dispense into a collection tray. On the system, we've got very simple start and stop. This is common across the range. As I say, the PLC control. We have a test function on this particular system as well, and we have the run function. Variable speed allows us to adjust the output speed on the belt in relation to the in-feed section. So if we start the machine up, the first thing that happens is the belt starts indexing, the machine calibrates and comes up with us, giving us the opportunity to either test via the system or go into run mode. The test allows us to feed one carton through, and then when we're happy with the running of the system, test the run. And the machine continues to run all the way through whilst the stack is being filled. You can, obviously on this type of system, as per the RF light and the auto, refill your hopper stack whilst the machine is running, and you can adjust the speed to suit the operator's needs for throughput. That brings us really much to a conclusion on the different feeder systems that we are able to supply. There is another question that's popped up just before we finish, and that's regarding the other accessories that are available on these systems. Now, bearing in mind, we are looking at non-food and non-pharma applications. So this could be automotive industry, aircraft parts, it could be contract packers, for example, have a whole host of different requirements. The good thing about the RF1 is that you've got such a large bed area that we can really fit pretty much whatever you like on the top in terms of labeling, whether that be flash or a full print and apply label down to the product. We can include print station here. We can also, if required, have a camera system for picking up label placement or reading and verifying code data. We can also offer a reject station at the end of the machine, and as I said earlier, the shingling conveyor to take the product away from the process. Do you have any more questions? I'm looking at my colleagues here just to make sure we don't have any more live chat coming through. So that really brings us to the end of today's presentation on accessories or equipment that we can provide for other industries rather than food and pharma. Tomorrow we'll be covering outer case printing, so do join us for that. That's 2 sessions at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock tomorrow. And as before, please feel free to contact us, sales@rotechmachines.com, or of course call us direct. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching.